Wilson here, co-founder of MarketClub with your midday update for Tuesday, the 13th of March. It's a drug we all need, and it just got a little bit more expensive today. I am, of course, referring to crude oil. We'll also be looking at an important trade triangle that was triggered today, and also 3 stocks on the move. United States Steel Corp, Masco, and Cummins. Plus, I have a surprise stock for you, which I think is really incredible. So we want to see that. So let's get started right away. Excuse me. And let's take a look at our portfolio. And starting with the S&P 500, you can see now it is plus 100. And the reason for that is today we had an important signal in our weekly trade triangle. And I'll just put that in. Boom. There it is right there. And you can see with our trade triangles, let's just go back to a very short term period so you can get a better idea. But there it is. There's the weekly trade triangle kicked in today at 1378. The market's at 1382, so it's got a little bit of profit in already. But we've never lost sight of our original buy point, which was at 1292, which we have to go back here for. And that's done extremely well for us, and we continue to be long-term bullish on this market, thinking it can go up to the 1550 area sometime in the not too distant future. Excuse me. Let's go on to our next markets. We can look at the NASDAQ and the Dow, but basically they're still the same, plus 100, so we had signals there. And if we look at the silver market, it's interesting. We're plus 55 there in a trading range. And silver is, this is the key thing. Why is anyone going to pay any attention to silver when the equity markets are so much better and they're making so much more money in those markets? And that's the key thing to look at today. So we're down today in the silver market, plus 55. It's a trading range, and we are not in an oversold condition. So I think this market can still be on the defensive, even though the longer-term monthly trade triangle is positive. So I think this is just sort of chopping around. This is going to be the big key level to look at, is the 3250 area. If we go below that, then this market's going to come under a lot more pressure. So looking at the next market, of course, is going to be gold. And gold is really on the defensive in my mind. We are trading currently at 1695.29. This is real-time prices, and it's really not acting that well. We're lower for the week, of course, and this market looks to be on the defensive to me, potentially moving down to the 1650, 1620 level. So I think it just really it looks as though it's beginning to, let me get my telestrator on here. It looks to me like it's just beginning to roll over like this. And that's the key thing. But this is a key area right here. We think the 1650 area, the 1650 is the first target zone, and then possibly down to the 1620 level, which is a Fibonacci retracement right here and right here. So it looks as though we're just sort of rolling over again. Let's see what happens. But our trade triangles, the monthly is negative, indicating down. Our weekly is also negative. And the only one that's positive is this one, the daily, which is not such an important one when it comes to the bigger trends in this market. So let's clear the screen off. Let's go to our next market. And the next market we're going to be looking at is going to be the copper market. And the copper actually has put in a very good performance today. And if you look at what we were talking about before, let me put my telestrator on. I'll give you some ideas what we're looking at in this market. The market has basically been really kind of somewhat flat if you just look at this, and then you've got the possible double bottom here, but basically this is really kind of just building up. If we go over this level here, which is you're looking at the 395 level, I think we could see this market go up somewhere in the region of the 420 area, 420 on the upside, but it has to clear this action. And of course, if we're right on the stock market and the stock market goes to 1550, this will be an easy number to hit for crude oil. Longer term, our monthly trade triangle is positive. The weekly is a little bit negative right now, that's why you've got this sort of sideways action going on. And the daily, which is not such an important element, again, is positive. So we have a plus 75. That's an emerging trend. And I think that's the way to look at this market. It's beginning to emerge to the upside. So let's see how this closes out. And I think it's going to be very interesting because we've got a very strong stock market. We have signal in that market today. So let's go to look at our next market. And the next market we're looking at is going to be the crude oil market. This is kind of like the drug that we all have, and we're sort of beginning to look at. And you see we're starting to base out here. And I think the key thing to look at, I'm going to put a close-only chart on this market. The key area to look at, in my opinion, is going to be the 107.42 level. We're 107.14. If we close over 107.42, then we've taken out this high here, and it would indicate that we're off to the races. Again, you can also draw in a trend line, which I'll do right now for you, is from the highs here and just down like that. So if we close, I would say up about a little bit higher than we are now, certainly over the 107.42 area, then it's another move to the upside. Let's just scope this out just a little bit further so you get an idea of the potential that this market has. And you can see we've talked about this over and over, and that is this huge base that we have in this market starting way back in May of last year. You can see that, let me put my telestrator on. This is almost a huge amount of energy stored in this market right now. And the breakout, of course, was here, which we told you about with our special report and also on the Friday trade. This is a continuation. You've had the little pullback to the support area. Now if we start going up like this, then we're off to the 120, 125 level on crude. It looks as though if the equity markets continue to do what they're doing, this pattern is a classic pattern of testing support and going up from there. So we are very, very bullish. We have our monthly trade triangle is positive. Our weekly is also positive. Only the daily right here is negative. Not such a big deal. We're plus 85, which means it's a strong bullish trend. That's the key thing to remember. Strong bullish trend. Watch the close today in New York. 107.40 over that level. It's going to look really, really. 107.50 would be like a gift. So let's see how that plays out. But generally speaking, it looks like the market wants to go higher, and we'll be following that very closely this afternoon. So let's go to our next market. There's another market I'm going to show you a little later on. This is the USO. You can trade crude oil. If you don't like trading futures, you can trade crude oil using an ETF. It's a very, very popular ETF, and you can see our ETF is plus 100, and it looks as though it wants to go higher. Let me just take this off the screen for you. And it looks as though you built the base, you're turning around, and if we go closer in on this, we can see that the previous high close in this was 41.09. We're currently trading 41.02. If we close over 41.09, I think it's going to be the equivalent of the same price point on the crude oil, which we mentioned, and that's the 107.40 area. If we go over this level here, so 41.09 is the level to watch on the USO. So let's see how that plays out. And let's go to the markets again. Let's look at the euro dollar, which is also negative today, and the dollar index is positive. So we talked about the dollar index being positive for quite some time, and of course is beginning to make that turn up. All of our indicators in this market are positive, indicating the trend is very clearly on the upside. And excuse me, if you look at where we've been long from this market, you can see on the index 76.61. We're currently trading at 79.96. So we put a nice profit in there. The last signal we had was at 80, which is the weekly kicked in. So it's a little bit higher than we are right now, but nonetheless, all the indicators are indicating higher prices. So it looks to me like the trend, and people want dollars once again. So let's clear the screen off and go to our next market. And got some good markets right now. A lot of very target-rich environment, and we've got some great trades to show you. So looking at the Reuters Jefferies CRB Index, this is our inflation index, which you talked about. Remember we talked about this market around the 314, 315 area as an area to be supportive. Well, that's exactly what's happened. We do have a plus 80. This is an emerging trend, but our longer-term monthly trade triangle, which is elected from 323.11, is in force, indicating that prices should move higher from current levels. So let's take a look at our first market. And this is a market we haven't looked at for a long time. It's United States Steel, symbol X. Interesting symbol. It's been around for a long, long, long time. And what we're looking at is how are we doing right now. This is interesting because our monthly trade triangles, 29.23, the market's at 27.90, so you can actually get in a better price. There's the monthly trade triangle right there. You see it did go up, came back down. The weekly, if I put that in, shows you basically you would have gotten out at 27.67 and you'd still be on the sort of sidelines. But longer term, it would appear as though this market wants to go higher. And you can see it's going to be coming from a good base. We've been basically moving sideways since October last 2011. So we're moving sideways. So we can see this market actually go up to much better levels than we are right now. But it needs to clear, in my estimation, it needs to clear this level here, 31.88. If we do that, then we're off to the races to the upside. So let's go back to our portfolio and look at Masco Corp. MAS is the symbol. And we take these markets based on the action that is going on today. These are the biggest movers on the NYSE exchange. So here we are. We're looking at 1313, which is today's date. Signal at 1239 is 1260, so you can get in pretty much close to the signal, and it would look as though you've got all your trade triangles lined up, which we like to see. Long from 10.46, and I can show you that right away. There's the signal, and here's the signal before at 1281. So the nice thing about the trade triangles, they're not going to try to fool you. They're going to tell you what the market's doing. Of course, when we had the signal here at 1281, you had a very nice move on the downside from this level here all the way down. So 1281, you went down to $7. Do you really want to sit through a move of that magnitude? I don't want to put that much pressure on myself. So I would rather be out of the market, so be out or short. So either way, you have two ways to play this. You can be out in cash, which is a position of itself, or you can be short the market, which is right here, and trade it that way. But here's the buy signal right here, and this is on 1046 right here. The price is 1046, and we're currently trading at 1260. So you've got $2 profit in here. So you've got a 20% gain in literally just a very short period of time. So let's clear the screen off and look at our next market. And let's take a look at that stock right now. This is an interesting one. That's Cummins. It's a plus 55. So we know right away it's a trading range, but let's take a look at the bigger picture and let's see what the monthly trade triangle is doing. Well, the monthly trade triangle right now for Cummins is long from 103.95. The market's at 121. There's the monthly trade triangle right there. The weekly, however, is a little bit negative, and it will not kick in until we take out these highs. But longer term, if you scope this out a little bit further, you can see that the pattern, in my mind, is very positive. In fact, if we close over this level here, these levels here around the 123.14, 123, 120, let's call it 123.50. If we close over that level there, then we're going to see this whole area then really becomes like a big, what we call an energy field right here. This is just a really nice strong base to carry this market higher and sort of you're certainly taking out this level. And as I say, we get this market going higher, 52-week highs. I think you want to be long this market. That'll push everything into the plus 100 camp, indicating a very strong trend. So let's go to our next market. And the next market we're looking at is going to be, I think, could be a real sleeper. I love the way this has set up. We are plus 100, and I'm talking about a stock called Tesoro, symbol TSO. It's traded on the NYSE, and you can see it's at new highs for this move. And if we go back, let's say, you can see where it's been in the past. This stock has been as high as, gosh, it's been as high as, let's see, 61, 63. And if we take our tool, our Fibonacci tool, and we draw from approximately this level here, drag it down, it looks as though we're going to take this market back up to possibly, see where it stopped the first time is the 38% level. I think we can go to 35, even to 42, which is still a really nice move from here. The other thing I like about this market, and I'll scope this in further, is let me take this off here and get my illustrator on, is the fact that you've got this really nice energy field right here. This has been building since April of last year, and it's a really strong base. The fact that we've gotten through here, We're in new high ground. This is the breakout right there. So you're looking at a market that's gone from, let's just call that $19 to the highs, which will, let's just call that 28. We'll round it out. And let's just call that $9 from here. If you subtract this number from the 28 number, it gives you plus 9. And if you add plus 9 to this area here, 28, it gives you 37. So that's going to be our target zone, 37 on this very powerful looking stock to us. And if we scope this out, so remember 37, if we scope this out, clear the screen, and we're going out on the stock, we can look and see exactly where that's going to lead us. And 37 takes us midpoint between really this 35 and 42. So if you subtract those two, it's 7. So around $37, $38. That's certainly in the cards in this market. But hey, this is Adam Hewison. I'd love to have you come out and visit. We've got a conference coming up at the end of this month on the 27th and 30th of March, just outside of Salt Lake City. You can give us a call toll free, and we'll tell you about the conference and see if you can make it out to see us. 877-219-1482 is the number, extension 10234. If you're calling internationally or you're watching this show internationally, you can give us a call at 1-801-341-3981. Again, this is a conference, a summit we're doing at the end of this month, and just outside of Salt Lake City. We'd love to have you come out to visit with us, and I'd love to meet you personally. So we'll see you then. Adam Hewison for Market Club. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time in the same place. Have a great trading day.